This presentation is for Higher Health and Food Technology. This presentation aims to take you through different exam style questions. The learning intentions are to explain the types of questions that will appear in a Higher Health and Food Technology question paper and to explain how the marks are awarded for the answers. By the end of this session, you should be able to produce answers to exam questions and to be able to achieve full marks in these questions. Preparing for your higher HFT question paper. There are 4 types of questions in the question paper. These are identified by key command words: describe, explain, evaluate, and analyse. The first type of question that you may be asked is a describe question. In a describe question, you should provide a statement of characteristics or features related to the question. It is more than an outline or a list. You may provide a number of straightforward points or a smaller number of developed points, or a combination of these. Describe questions can be found in higher health and food technology papers, however, they are less common than the other types of questions. Example of a describe question. Describe one function of phosphorus in the diet. Phosphorus works with calcium to form calcium phosphate, which give bones their hardness. A lack of phosphorus in the diet could lead to brittle bones. The second type of question that can be answered is an explain question. This is more common than the describe question. This means you have to provide more detailed points of information linked to the keywords in the question. This could include giving reasons for, explain the effects of. You should always remember to use buts: because, as, therefore, or so. Using one of these keywords in an explain question will ensure that you are explaining and answering the question fully. An example of an explain question is as follows. This question was taken from the 2019 paper and it's question 1A. Explain 3 factors that could influence consumer food choice. So the command word is explain, so you need to ensure you use either because, as, therefore, or so in your answer. I've highlighted the words 3, influence, and choice of food. As it is asking for 3 factors, this links in with the mark scheme. You need to have 3 points to access the full 3 marks. You need to think about influences and choice of food. An example answer for this question could be: if consumers have money available, it will influence their food choice, as if it is limited, they will be more likely to take advantage of special offers. 1 mark. Adverts or social media may influence consumer food choice of foods they have not tried yet, therefore may increase their food choice. 2nd mark. More people are travelling abroad and trying new foods, and this may influence them to want to consume these foods at home and therefore influencing their food choice. 3rd mark. As the question was worth 3 marks, you had to identify 3 separate points and explain these points. Other relevant responses may be: television cooking shows influence consumers to bake or cook what is on the show and as a result buy different ingredients. Discount supermarkets can influence consumers to think more carefully about the cost of food and be less loyal to brand names. The third type of question that you may be asked is an evaluate question. In an evaluate question, you should make a number of evaluative comments which make a judgment based on the information provided. Use this rule to ensure you're making the judgment clear. So F for fact, O for opinion, and C for consequence. Ensuring that you structure your answer this way will help you access the marks. So an example for a fact could be, red meat is high in saturated fat. That is fact. Opinion. So this is your opinion, whether you think this is good or this is bad. So in this case, this is bad. C for consequence. So a consequence of this. Too much saturated fat in the diet can lead to a higher risk of coronary heart disease in later life. That would then access you 1 mark. Evaluative questions are quite often 3 or 4 marks, so you would have to make a number of these judgments to access the amount of marks. You may also be awarded a further mark for including information relating to the judgment. This is called a developed answer. We will explore this on the next slide. Here is an example of an evaluate question. Question paper 2018 and question 1E. Evaluate the use of alternative proteins in the diet. This question is worth 2 marks. Therefore, you must give 2 simple points relating back to the question or 1 developed point relating back to the question. Example of a simple answer. So F, your fact, could be alternative proteins such as tofu or corn are high in protein. Opinion, this is good. Consequence, it will aid growth, repair and maintenance of body cells. That would access you 1 mark. For the second mark, you would need to have another judgment. Fact, beans or cereals are high in dietary fibre. Opinion, this is good. Consequence, as it will help to reduce the risk of bowel disorders or constipation. Answering 2 simple answers will then access you the 2 marks. Same question, but a developed answer this time. Fact, corn or TVP can lack flavour. Opinion, this is bad. Consequence, consumers may need to add in more flavour, for example salt. Developing the answer at this next stage is as follows. This could then lead to a higher risk of high blood pressure in future. This is a developed answer and therefore would access you 2 marks. The final type of question that you may be asked is Analyse. In an Analyse question, you should make a number of comments relating to the context of the question. You should identify appropriate information from the given sources, the relationship between the identified information and their significance when taken together. A good acronym to follow is HICS. H for higher or lower, I for the impact of being high or low, C for the consequence of the impact, and S, the SNAC contribution. So an example of H would be the energy intake is too high. I for impact, the excess energy would be stored which could make her overweight or obese. C for consequence, this could lead to hypertension. And S for the SNAC contribution, the crisps or bread may be high in energy which may not be suitable for the pregnant woman as they will contribute to her energy intake. Following HICS will get you 3 marks. You will also need to analyse 3 different nutrients to gain the 9 marks available in these types of questions. An example of an Analyse question can be seen in 2018 paper question 1C. This may be similar to a DRV question that you may have had at National 5 level. These are usually evaluate questions at National 5 level, but at higher level it requires you to analyse. So the key things we need to look at here are the fact that this is for a pregnant woman. She is 30 years old and the food she is consuming is scrambled egg on wholemeal toast, spinach and strawberry smoothie. If you look at the top table, this is what the pregnant woman should be consuming in her diet. and the bottom table is what the pregnant woman is consuming in her diet. You need to be sure not to get the two muddled up. This question is worth a total of 9 marks. To be able to access all 9 marks, you need to choose 3 nutrients and analyse them. So an example answer using the Hicks formula is: the energy intake is too high. That would be higher or lower. I for impact: the excess energy could be stored as fat as she's less likely to be active during pregnancy. C for consequence: this could lead to the woman being overweight or obese and harder for her to lose the excess weight after childbirth. S, the smoothie or wholemeal bread could be high in calories and therefore may not be suitable for a pregnant woman as it would contribute to the high energy intake. This would access you 3 marks. Second point could be: the protein intake is too high. The excess protein could be stored as fat. This could lead to the woman being overweight or obese and a higher risk of coronary heart disease in future. The eggs will be contributing to her high protein intake. Another 3 marks. Finally, the vitamin C intake is too high. Vitamin C aids the absorption of iron, so will ensure that iron is being absorbed into her body. This will reduce the woman's risk of anemia, which can be common in pregnancy. The spinach or strawberries will be contributing to her vitamin C intake. Again, another 3 marks there. Picking 3 nutrients, breaking them down will access you the 3 marks. Other relevant responses may be: the iron intake is low. This means she will have a lack of red blood cells or feel tired. This may contribute to anemia, which is common in pregnancy. The spinach or egg or wholemeal bread is contributing to her iron intake. Again, this would access you 3 marks. The folate intake is too low. This will affect cell formation in the fetus. This may contribute to the baby being born with a neural tube defect. The spinach, egg, wholemeal bread will contain folate, which will contribute to her folate intake. Again, 3 marks. So to summarise, the questions that can be asked in your higher question paper are a describe question, an explain question, an evaluate question, and an analyse question. For an explain question, you should use the words because, and, therefore, or so to help you explain your answer. In an evaluate question, you should use fact, opinion, and consequence, and for a further mark, develop your answer. And for analyse, higher or lower, impact, consequence, and the SNAP contribution. Using these acronyms will help you access all of the marks in your paper. What we will now do is we will go through the question in paper 2019. This will be question 1. You should read through the question on the next slide and try to answer it before we go through the answering technique. So, 2019 past paper question 1A. Explain 4 factors that may contribute to childhood obesity. This question is worth 4 marks. It is an explain question, so use your knowledge from the previous slides to help you answer this. Answers to question 1A. Candidates should make 4 points that make the issue plain or clear, for example, showing connections between the factor given and the factor contribution to childhood obesity. You will be awarded 1 mark for each accurate and relevant explanation. Examples of these could be: children may take part in less physical activity or spend more time on computer games, therefore excess calories are being stored as fat by the body, increasing the risk of childhood obesity. Second point, children may choose to snack on high-fat foods, leading to excess weight gain, which can therefore contribute to childhood obesity. Third point, children often avoid eating fresh fruit and vegetables, thus reducing their fibre intake, increasing hunger or snacking in between meals, which can therefore contribute to childhood obesity. Fourth point, children may be more likely to drink high sugary drinks or energy drinks. Therefore, if this energy is not used up, it can contribute to childhood obesity. Fifth point, children may have a lack of self-esteem or mental health problems resulting in comfort eating, so increasing energy intake, which could contribute to childhood obesity. Final point, many families with children work long hours, so takeaway foods or convenience foods may be relied upon, which are often high in fat, so this may contribute to childhood obesity. There are other valid responses which are not included. You may also be awarded a mark for these as well. Question 1b. Explain how each of the following steps taken by an after-school club could prevent food poisoning when preparing snacks. Staff training and purchasing ingredients from reputable suppliers. This question is worth 3 marks, so you will have to have 3 points relating back to the question. You must cover part 1 and part 2. So you could have 2 points relating to staff training and 1 for purchasing ingredients from reputable suppliers, or you could have 1 point for staff training and 2 points for purchasing ingredients for reputable suppliers. Pause this presentation and attempt the question before you check over the answers. Answers to question 1b. Again, candidates should make a number of points that make the issue plain or clear. For example, by showing connections between the step taken when preparing the snack and how it prevents food poisoning. Award 1 mark for each accurate relevant explanation. Award a further mark for any explanation that is developed. Award a maximum of 2 marks for explanations linked to the same point of information. And award a maximum of 2 marks for developed explanations linked to the same point of information. This question is worth 3 marks. Possible responses could be: for 1b, staff training. Staff training can prevent food poisoning in an after-school club, as staff will be aware of the correct personal hygiene measures, such as washing hands, which will prevent contamination of food. Second point, hygiene training will ensure that after-school club staff are up to date with record-keeping legislation, ensuring thorough cleaning takes place, so reducing the risk of food poisoning. Purchasing ingredients from reputable suppliers. Purchasing ingredients from reputable suppliers will reassure the staff or after-school club that ingredients have been handled hygienically, so reducing the risk of food poisoning. Point 2. Purchasing foods from reputable suppliers will ensure that the after-school club receives stock which has been stored at the correct temperature, therefore reducing the risk of food poisoning. (2019) past paper question 1c. An after-school club aims to meet the nutritional needs of its children. Table 1 shows the dietary reference values for females aged 11 to 14 years. The food intake of an 11-year-old girl includes the following lunch: a milkshake, macaroni cheese, spinach and rocket salad, chips. Table 2 shows the dietary analysis of the 11-year-old girl's food intake, including the lunch. Analyse 3 different aspects of the girl's food intake shown in Table 2 in relation to the dietary reference values for an 11 to 14-year-old females shown in Table 1. For each aspect, you should include a comment on the impact of her food intake in relation to the dietary reference values, a potential consequence for her health, a conclusion about the contribution made by her food intake. Now pause the video and attempt this question on your own. Make sure you use HICS, higher or lower, impact, consequence, and snack contribution to help you answer this question fully. Answers to question 1c. Candidates should make a number of comments related to the 11-year-old girl. Candidates should identify appropriate information from Table 1, Table 2, and the lunch. the relationship between the information and their significance when taken together. For each of 3 identified aspects of the girl's diet in relation to the DRVs. 1 mark is available for explaining the impact of different aspects of the girl's diet in relation to the DRVs. 1 mark is available for explaining the possible consequences of the girl's health, and 1 mark is available for reaching a conclusion about the contribution made by the lunch to the girl's diet. So you had to choose 3 of these and explain them using the RIC acronym. Possible responses could include, for energy, the energy intake for the girl is low. This could lead to the girl not having enough energy for activities at school. Explanation of the impact of the energy intake linked to the dietary reference values. That would give you 1 mark. If this was to continue, this could lead to weight loss for the girl or result in the girl being tired after taking part in activities. Possible consequences of the nutrient intake on health, this would give you 1 mark. The carbohydrates in the macaroni is contributing to our energy intake. Conclusion about the contribution made by the lunch, this would give you your 3rd mark. You could have also chosen vitamin A. The vitamin A intake is low for the girl. This could reduce growth of cells within the body, giving you 1 mark. This could lead to the girl's growth being stunted during a time of rapid body development, 2nd mark. The cheese in the macaroni cheese contributes to the girl's intake of vitamin A, 3rd mark. You could have also chosen vitamin C. The vitamin C intake is high for the girl, which will help boost her immune system, 1 mark. This will reduce the girl becoming ill, which she may be at more risk of being in a school environment, 2nd mark. The spinach in the salad will contribute to her vitamin C intake, 3rd mark. Fibre. The fibre intake is too low for the girl. This could lead to her faeces being hard and difficult to pass, 1 mark. Which could lead to constipation, 1 mark. The spinach in the salad contributes to the fibre in the girl's diet, 3rd mark. Finally, iron. The iron intake is low for the girl, which means she will have a lack of red blood cells, 1 mark. This could lead to anemia, which could leave the girl feeling tired or unable to take part in sport, 2nd mark. The spinach and rocket salad makes some contribution to the iron in the girl's diet, 3rd mark. So this Analyse question was worth 9 marks in total. You had to identify 3 of the nutrients and explain them using the RIC acronym. (2019) past paper, question 1D. The star profile below shows the results of sensory testing of the milkshake. The key states that 5 is very high, all the way down to 1, which is very low. Evaluate the suitability of this milkshake for children. This is worth 4 marks. You need to use the acronym FOC to make sure you access the marks: fact, opinion, and consequence. If you develop your answer, then that can access you 2 marks. Possible answers to question 1D. Candidates should make a number of evaluative comments related to the suitability of the milkshake for children. Your answer must relate back to the children at all times. Award marks for each response that shows a clear understanding of the rating related to the milkshake, includes an appropriate judgment on the suitability of the milkshake for children, and comments on the impact of appeal to children. Candidates may provide a number of straightforward evaluations or a smaller number of developed evaluations, or a combination of these. Award 1 mark for each relevant evaluation. Award a further mark for any evaluation that is developed. Award a maximum of 2 marks for any developed evaluations linked to the same attribute. There is a total of 4 marks for this question. Possible responses could include: for smooth, this was rated 2, which is low. This is a negative. The milkshake has been rated a low score for smoothness. This may suggest it contains pieces or lumps of fruit. This may make it unsuitable for children, as they may not like the lumps and may be put off drinking it. This would be worth 1 mark. If If you developed your answer, you could have included, this could lead to the nutrients such as calcium lacking in their diet. That would access you the second mark. Aroma was rated 4. This is high. This is a positive. The milkshake has a high score for aroma, which may suggest a strong smell. This may be good for children, as they may like the smell of the milkshake or be encouraged to try it. Colour was rated 1, which is very low. This is a negative. The milkshake has been rated very low for colour. This may suggest it lacks colour from fruit. This may be unsuitable for children, as they may be attracted to bright colours. Sweet was rated 4. This is high. This is classed as a negative. The milkshake has been rated high for sweetness. This suggests that the milkshake contains a lot of sugar. This may be unsuitable for children, as it may increase their risk of dental caries or obesity. Fruity was rated 5, which is very high. This is a positive. The milkshake has been rated very high for fruity. This suggests that the milkshake contains a lot of fruit. This may be suitable for children, as it will help contribute to the current dietary advice to increase fruit and vegetables. In this presentation, we aimed to explore the different type of questions in a higher health and food technology question paper and explain how the marks were awarded for these. By now, you should be able to produce answers to exam questions that achieve full marks. Next steps. You can access National 5 past papers and marking instructions on the SQA website. If you search SQA Higher Health and Food Technology past papers into your search bar, then the first result will take you to the page. Past papers provide a great way to see the standard of detail and work that is required to gain maximum marks. They can be used in several ways. Use with the marking schemes to write out several versions of acceptable answers. Try and sit the exam at home and then mark your own answers. Look over several years of past papers and try to find common questions and/or content. Thanks for listening, and don't forget that you can always ask your teacher for help if you are struggling or you're unsure. Good luck in your exam paper.